So initially this live stream was set for around 2:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, but I delayed it by 10 minutes because I started watching the Stoyan Limanov and Vasily Dautashvili interview. So I'll be including some details of that match as well in this live stream. So that's why the live stream time was rescheduled. Many people have already joined this time. About 10 people have joined now. So Steny, come on, Pradeep. Thank you everyone for joining. So first, let's talk about Vasily versus Stoyan. A little bit discussion about this match, and then 5 minutes or so after that, we'll discuss the Bacho Saginashvili versus Brad Grundy super match. Link to the pay-per-views will be in the description. $20 pay-per-view. I think you should definitely buy it. One of the best events ever. So Vasily Dautashvili and Stoyan, you may not have seen these guys compete too much. At least I haven't seen. I know Stoyan competed and won at East versus West once, and Vasily recently won a qualifier to get his chance to compete at East versus West. But other than these, you have to be a really hardcore fan to see these two guys arm wrestle because yes, they are almost like both of them are veterans. Stoyan definitely, and Vasily also. He was pretty good a decade ago, and he thinks that he's even better now. So the guy has already defeated John Brezink in a super match about 12, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, and he thinks that he's better now. So isn't he already the favorite to win this match? Well, maybe not. So Vasily said that Stoyan is a classic top roller and he likes to arm wrestle against top rollers. That's another thing that makes him the favorite to win this match. The third thing is he's heavier, he's bigger. He will be cutting down from 110 to 105. Stoyan, on the other hand, will be bulking from around 100 or maybe even less than that, trying to somehow get to 105 or close to 105 kilos. So Stoyan said, and both of them said that they have never met each other, but Stoyan said it's still going to be a big honor for me to pull Vasily. Vasily started arm wrestling in 2016 and Stoyan started in 1996. Stoyan believes that even though he's the smaller guy in this match, but still he has more experience because we just discussed he has been pulling for almost 30 years now, and he has a little bit more endurance than Vasily. He was already saying that this weight category is too big for me. So is he already not so confident to win this match? We kept on hearing from Georgi Swetkov about Stoyan Golemanov. He every time Engin interviewed Georgi was like, Engin, you need to invite this guy. His top roll is getting on a crazy level. It's like unimaginable pronation. You have to get this guy on East versus West. And finally, Stoyan is on East versus West. So those words from Georgi, because he himself is an like amazing elite level top roller, and if he thinks that Stoyan's top roll is like that amazing, then it has to be really good. And when he was saying that, I don't think he was talking in a pound for pound perspective. Engin, he's a 100 kg guy. For a 100 kg guy, his top roll is really impressive. He was just saying that in general. Like even for a 160 kg Swetkov, Stoyan's top roll was feeling amazing. So that's how good he is. That once again kind of closes the gap down, which we were just discussing. The gap on paper, which so far seems to be in favor of Vasily Dautashvili. Yes, Dennis got a hair transplant on 4th of February. So what he lacks in size, he's going to be trying to cover that up with experience, and he's also training specifically for his opponent. He's sparring against only top rollers, or at least mostly top rollers, and he's focusing a lot on hand strength. That's what he thinks is going to be, it needs to be strong enough to win this match. And Stoyan talked about his match back in the day, 2012, against Todd Hutchings. I couldn't find the footage. They did find the footage, and Coach Ray was very curious to play that. But then, as soon as he played that, he immediately shut that down. My guess is Engin Terzi messaged him. Engin was watching that live stream from. Was he already in Georgia then? I think, yeah, he was. Or maybe he went there after that. Engin told him not to play that footage because when I was editing videos for Engin on East versus West channel, he didn't let me use even a single screenshot from the PAL matches. Like that was 3 years ago or less than that, maybe, when the East versus West channel was created. I created that, by the way. So he didn't even let me use a screenshot from PL matches from Igor Mazurenko's league, and that was his very strict rule, and I respected that. I still respect that. Now that's why I think that even though Coach Ray was excited to play that footage, he maybe got a message from Engin. It's just my guess though. Hola Espartanos. So since he was talking about the Todd Hutchings match in 2012, so I'm guessing that he may have won that. From the footage which I saw, he had Todd's hand without the straps, and Todd was struggling. That was still like an novice elite Todd Hutchings. Why am I calling novice? Because it's hard to believe that, but Todd Hutchings learned that he can actually slip from someone after he lost to Zoloev. Before that, show me one match where Todd Hutchings is slipping from someone. He'll rather die on the table but to attempt a slip. He'll do anything just to catch an opponent without the straps. So Todd Hutchings, even though he has been arm wrestling for like how many years now? More than 20 years now. He learned how to slip after 2021. So until then, Todd was like a novice elite arm wrestler. Now he's, I wouldn't say in the, when it comes to slipping, he's elite. So I'll say now he's like pro elite arm wrestler. I'm surprised how many athletes walk around lighter than their weight class. Yes, yes, this shows that the level has still not kind of peaked out. Forget about cutting weight. They're not even making weight. And we'll discuss that for Bacho as well. Because Bacho is already below his weight category and he's still thinking about cutting more weight. So how about that? Vasily said, my bad, that his home crowd from Georgia is not going to help him a lot. He's not a big believer in the fact that people think that, or in the theory that people think that arm wrestling or fighting or playing any sport in your home crowd is a big advantage. It is not, according to him. Well, I would say that unless you can basically just travel straight from your home to the event, if it's like a couple of hours car distance, which it may be in Georgia, then it's definitely a benefit. We're not going to get into the jet lag thing here, but if you can completely avoid the hotel room and just show up to the event where you are supposed to weigh in and then arm wrestle, then I think it's a huge advantage. It must be a big advantage. But I do agree with Vasily on the fact that he said the crowd cheering you, it doesn't really help you. Like, still you have to fight it out on the table. The crowd cannot help you. And I totally agree with that. When people say, well, the 1,000 people were cheering my name, that's why I got more strong. Do you even hear that? I've also arm wrestled a couple of times in tournaments. Do you even hear what the other guys are shouting when you're going like all out 100%? I don't think you do, unless you are like completely, you arm wrestle like Denis Siplankov. So I agree with him. I don't think home crowd matters that lot. He went as far as to say that he would rather arm wrestle somewhere else than his hometown. He doesn't like that extra pressure that basically offers no benefit to him at all. Vasily said that in the gym, he has never lifted the kind of weights that he's lifting now. He's, in that sense, he's by far the strongest that he has ever been. Now, that's a scary thought. That's a scary thought for his opponent, and is the bigger guy as well. So he's now saying, we heard that from him before as well, that he's going to be aiming for the top. First, his aim is Stoyan Golemanov. Then his aim is to go for top five, somebody in the top five in 95, in 105 kg. And then he hopes that he gets a title shot, and he hopes that the owner of that title, when he gets that match, is Devon Larratt. He would like to fight Devon Larratt. That's a little bit too much to expect from himself. It's as like I we would can we still call it like a kind of a comeback? When was the last time we saw him in a big tournament, or winning WAF or something, or having a super match? I don't remember that, so it's too much to ask for. And I think that's about it. That we have discussed all the things that we needed to discuss about this match. It's difficult. Like, I'm kind of going back and forth on this match. So no point really trying to predict this match. Now this Bacho versus Reno match is quite interesting because Bacho versus Reno already happened. My apologies. This Bacho versus Brad Grundy super match, because I don't see Bacho losing anyway, man. Brad was talking about having a dream when he joined the live stream, and he said that in his dream he lost to Bacho. Like, does anyone ever win in their dream? I also had a few arm wrestling dreams, like not few, many, maybe 10, 12 arm wrestling dreams I've had, and I've lost in most of them, and even more than that, like probably a couple dozen sprinting dreams. Like I'm in a 100-meter sprint, and somehow the legs don't lift, man. You cannot run, and you're the last person always. I don't think I've ever finished second last in a 100-meter sprint in my dream. Does that happen to anyone else too? Pradeep, bro, what about Bacho versus Bethkili? I think right arm Bacho will win. Left arm, Bacho said his left is little bit weaker than his right, but his pronation on the left is better. So I'm assuming maybe Bethkili can win on the right, but left, but right, I would definitely give it to Bacho. He's the bigger guy. Bethkili, I'm still assuming, even though he's really tall, I'm still assuming he has to like bulk up to 95 kilos. I don't think he's walking around that weight, but I could be wrong though. Devon needs to get used to being over 300. He shouldn't gain weight quickly to face Levan. That's a good point. That's a good point. Baggio said that in the Reno Masic match, he was too heavy. That was his mistake, and he got injured in that match too. So he basically got to use only 50-60% of his power in that match. That is absolutely absurd. Like the host, the guy interviewing, I know it's their job to just give them a platform, Coach Ray in that case, but they have to call them out for bullshit like that, saying that I only used 50-60% power in the Reno Message match. It's really absurd, man. People need to be called out for that. I'm already a big fan of Bacho, but that thing was, you cannot let it slide. He said that there was a big climate change for him. Dubai was too hot. That's why it bothered him that in that sense too. And his hand got pumped, and then he got injured. So he couldn't perform as well as he could have and as well as he would have wanted to in that super match. So this time he's about 102 kilos, and he's planning to lose even more weight so that he feels better. So I was thinking, bro, why not just jump to the 95 kilo class and just show your power there? That could be a much better thing for you. And then after some time, he did say that he's planning to go down to 95 kilos. And Coach Ray, once again, Coach Ray asked him when the guy had already said that he's 102 for a 105 kg category match, and he's planning to lose even more weight for this match. After that, coach they asked, "Are you planning to move a weight category up in the future? Are you planning to go to 115?" And I was like, "Bro, coach Day is not listening to what Bacho is saying." But the guy is super busy, man. I just imagine, like, from the guys that we know, Coach Ray has to be like one of the top five most hardworking guys in arm wrestling. Like the guys non-stop everywhere. So salute to that. And doing interviews too, I I know it can get difficult. And should start doing curls because of his training. Okay, Devon Larratt should start doing curls. It's true, Devon is too greedy. If he just steadily aimed at pinnacle, he might have a chance. Don't know what that means, in what sense you're saying that, but okay. So he said that he watched some of Brad Grundy's matches and he's not impressed. He's not surprised. Brad against him basically has no chance at all. And I think I'm this Bacho segment which I just saw in the interview. I noted some points. It's an interesting one. I'll probably make a different video about that as well. So Bacho thinks that Brad has no chance to top roll him, and Brad has no chance to hook him. He's going to destroy it everywhere he goes, and he'll probably lose even worse than Adam Wardzinski, who couldn't even get to the straps, and Brad also wouldn't get to the straps. This is what he thinks. So there were some other things as well. I'll probably leave it for some other day. Then we'll get to the chat. Let's talk about Brad Grundy. Brad said that, like, listening to his words, it didn't look like he was sounding much confident. He was like, just a couple of weeks ago I got to know that, yeah, now I'm in a good shape. Before that, he wasn't in a good shape. So he trained for like little over 2 months for this match. When enters, he told him that you're going to be facing Bacho Saginashvili. Then he planned 3 months, I would say. Then he planned a 3-month trip to Bulgaria to prepare for this match, but then he couldn't go there. He wanted to train with Svetan Gachevsky and Jordan Sonev, but that was not possible. But then he trained with Devon Larratt and Paul Lynn, so that was cool as well. Like, I'm not going to say they are better trainers than those guys, so I don't, because I don't know how they train, but both of them are definitely stronger and stronger than Stoyan. Then why am I saying Stoyan? We just talked about that. Then Jordan Sonev and Svetan Gishevsky. But he agrees that this is going to be the hardest match of his life. When he started training with Devon, then he finally realized very close to this match that okay, his shape is good for this match. So Bacho destroys Matt Mask. This is what Levan Saginashvili said more than, I think it was more than 2 years ago in an interview. Out of nowhere, I laughed so hard after hearing that, and I kind of felt bad for Matt too, because at that time many people were taking jabs at Matt Mask. So Engin asked, I don't know who Matt was facing at that time. Was it Sandres or was it Prud? No, it was after the Prudnik match. So Engin was asking Levan's predictions for the upcoming matches, and Matt was also on the card. And when asked if Matt is going to win this match or not, Levan out of nowhere was like, "Bro, even my cousin Bacho is going to destroy Matt Mask." And I was like, okay, that was a little bit unnecessary. But then I wanted to see Matt versus Bacho. If this is a close match, then this Brad versus Bacho is a close match. Then I would still like to see, even though Matt lost to Brad pretty bad, still I would not mind the Matt versus Bacho match too much, just because Matt is also a bigger guy. Brad is also a bigger guy. He's cutting down from 252 pounds, but Matt can also be at a similar weight, over 245 pounds. So he'll also have the size advantage in that match. So if this match is close, I would still like to see Bacho versus Matt Mask. But if Bacho clean sweeps Brad, then that Matt versus Bacho match is off forever. It's never going to happen, and it should never happen. So Brad was making some comments about Devon Larratt too. He said that when he arm wrestled Devon, he felt like significantly stronger than what he was before the Hermes Gasparini match. Maybe a level or two above the Hermes Gasparini match. That's how strong he was. A month, was it a month ago when Brad practiced with? No, it was not a month ago. It was maybe like 10 days ago or 15 days ago when Brad practiced with him. Of course, it's admirable, but can he expect to ever beat Levan that way? I don't think so. So the chat is talking about Devon Larratt, and why not? Why not? He faced him already twice. Who faced who already twice? Devon is not greedy, just active. Much respect. Yeah, how can you say that he's greedy for taking more matches? Like, why wouldn't he? The guy's 50 years old. He should, if he can, he should arm wrestle every 2 months. Why not? Will Devon hold Gennady easy in the center? In the beginning, he will, but I'm not sure about the end, because in the last four losses that Devon has suffered, as soon as he loses one round, just one round, he immediately gets gassed out. Like, you can flash pin him and he'll get gassed out after that. And this 300-pound version of him, but he has started doing some serious cardio now. He's like sweating heavy. I saw him. Speaking of cardio, I also ran like 3.7 kilometers today. That was after 9 years, man. I've never ran such a long distance in last 9 years. 3.7 in 9 years. Got it in around 22 minutes. So I'm really happy with the time. What do you mean? Finally, common sense. He did the same thing before he beat the competition. So the chat are conversing among themselves. Bro, ask something. Ask something. I'm also sitting here. Devon isn't facing Levan right now. He said he has to dominate Gennady and then face at least one or two more important opponents in the super heavyweight. Don't know why I read important there because there is no such word written before even thinking about Levan. Yeah, I agree. And I remember he said that. And I remember I also talked about that in one of my videos. So the ideal planning strategy for Devon would be to, maybe the ideal will be to go to Levan once again. Like, why not have a big super match? Why not make the money? You've already lost to Levan a couple of times. It's not like it's going to damage your reputation because you're already supposed to lose to Levan. If you lose to Levan, then it's not going to change much for it. Financially, the ideal strategy for him to will be to just defeat Gennady and go straight for Levan again. But no, that's not what the fans would like to see. And I think that's not what Devon would also want to do. So the ideal strategy in that sense for Devon should be, let's think about it, defeat Gennady. I wouldn't bother about dominating him, because if Devon doesn't really dominate him, then it becomes a difficult match anyway. So maybe, yeah, he needs to win with domination, because if Gennady gets in the match, it can be trouble. It can be trouble. And since we are already talking about this match, I think Vasily also said that I practiced with Gennady before the Michael Todd match, and it was in such a terrible shape. He was in such a bad shape that Vasily knew that he's going to lose 3-0, but he still did better than that. He said, if I was in Gennady's place, I wouldn't even take the match. That's how bad of a shape Gennady was in. And now he's in a much better shape. That's why he said that probably Gennady is going to win easier than the first time. I don't totally agree with that, but yeah, I needed to let you guys know because you may not have watched that interview. What is your beard care routine? Nothing. Let it grow wherever it wants to grow. Zero beard care routine. I agree. I don't have a hair care routine. Like, they also grow wherever they want to grow and wherever they want to grow. And when they get a little bit bigger, I just trim it myself. That's my care routine. Don't even know when I went to the barber the last time. It could have been like a year ago. Gennady is still looking bad because on that bicep training that he posted, his left arm was looking stronger than his right. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a difficult day. It's gonna be a bad day. Gennady is greedy. That's who you should call greedy. Even I think he should have maybe like taken at least 3 more months before he took the Michael Todd match. So now at this event, it should have been Michael versus Gennady, and at the next event, it should have been Devon versus Gennady. That's what he should have done. So don't call Devon greedy here. Why even compete if he's still injured? I didn't know. He's not injured. He's not injured. It's just that he may be like maybe not even as good as he was against Devon when he faced him the first time. And everybody seems to be getting stronger these days. That's the problem that Gennady has now. It's not injury. It's the timing. It's the unfortunate luck. That's what I meant. Yeah. Bro, the injury was 2 years ago. Yeah, not 2 years ago, but 1.5 years ago, I would say. Maybe even 1 month less than that, if he's not 100%. Yep. Gennady still looking bad. I also remember a little bit like that, Martin, but I didn't watch that Gennady Quickvina training video so carefully. But something clicked in my mind when you said that. I agree with that strategy, but he has too greedy in the sense that he wants to be at the top of too many weight classes. Staying in super heavies could give him. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a fair point. Like going down, then jumping back up again, because that's a valid point. We have seen it multiple times in arm wrestling too. Like, somebody gets bigger from 95 to 105, let's say, and then he starts losing matches. We can say that for Irakli Zirakashvili, because yes, they may have gotten bigger, but their tendons, their muscles, they have not matured at that weight. So I believe whatever weight you're competing at, you should be around that weight for like at least 3 to 6 months. Then you can finally actually gain some strength because of those muscle gains that you just made. David Gambarashvili saying, I mean, Gennady said before MMT match that he was about 85%. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I got Bacho Saginashvili in that match. Hutchings said he couldn't do anything with Grundy in practice. Okay, yeah, I remember that too. I remember that as well. But still, I do have Bacho winning that super match. So we're discussing what Devon should do. So first, win against Gennady Quickvinia, then have a match against Vitali Laletin, or if Vitali is going already for Levan, then still have a match against Vitali Laletin if he loses that. And if he doesn't, then go for Vitali as the champ. So anyhow, Devon's next match should be Vitali. Whether in all of the cases, the first case is Vitali does not face Levan, then Devon goes for Vitali. The second case is Vitali goes for Levan, but then he loses. Still, Devon faces Vitali. The third case is Vitali goes for Levan. and he wins. He becomes the number one guy in the world. Even then, Devon should go for Vitali. So yeah, that's the most logical second step for Devon. Next step after Gennady. Devon is at the top in his PDs. Bacho versus Orden. Now that will be a match. Gennady has no. That will not be a match. Devon did put a bicep emoji under Bacho's training video though. Devon is everywhere, man. If you watch any video drop on any channel that is even remotely concerned with Devon, within the first 5 minutes, Devon has commented under that video. The guy is super active. He's in his cardio machine, cardio cycle, and just watching YouTube videos. I think Bacho is all juiced up. Who isn't? Who isn't? Do you think Morozov beats Devon on the left arm? I would have him like a, I would say at least 55% favorite against Devon. Don't be fooled. I'm telling you, I am someone who won't be surprised at all if Devon beats Morozov. But don't be fooled into believing that that's going to be an easy match for Devon, as Devon was saying. Like, that is probably, even if Devon wins it, that is probably going to be one of the hardest matches of his entire life. Morozov's left arm is no joke. Is no joke. Devon's right is the second best arm in the world, but his left is not close to that yet. And Morozov's left is like legit. I would say, even if Alijan, let's say, beats him, I think so. Vitali beats him. Even then, he's like a legit number three arm wrestler in the world on the left, and Devon isn't. Devon isn't. So even if it is a stylistically bad matchup for him, I would still say that Morozov, in my eyes, will be a little bit favorite against Devon, especially considering the fact that it will be a best of five and not a best of seven. And it wouldn't matter anyways. Like, I have never really seen Morozov get tired too much, but I can say that I have never really seen anyone take his wrist too. So maybe if his wrist gets taken, he gets gassed out. And he should have enough time to just work on that flop press. Work on that flop press. If he just takes 3 months dedicated to develop that move, then Devon will be left with like literally no chance. As of now, I don't think Morozov has an effective flop. By effective flop, I mean that can work against like a top level top roller who can actually take his hand. If Morozov decides to give his hand, then he can for sure, without even a good press, take that guy down if he's that strong. But if there's a guy who can legit take his hand, to press that guy, you need to have a really solid flop. And to do against Devon, he should be able to dial that move in with like 3 months of training. Because if he has that, then Devon cannot go anywhere. Like, he's the only way his arm is going, that will be down. Would the Devon that won left against Pushkar win against Morozov? Nope, I don't think so. No way. That Devon was light, like he was 245 maybe. Don't quote me on that, but I think he was below 250. Kamil versus and Morozov is what, like 350 now? Not 350, but he's over 300 for sure. 320 maybe. Or 140, I think he's 140 is what, like 310? 310? Morozov needs to take pronation of his opponent, and Devon is best in pronation, so that makes the match close. Kamil versus Devon left hand is the match. It is not the match. I don't. I Even though Devon was saying that, and when I made that video, people said that I just hate on Devon Larratt, but no, I don't. I just said I won't be surprised if he beats Morozov, but I would say in this lifetime, I don't see Kamil Jablonski losing to Devon Larratt's left arm ever, like literally ever. The gap was so big, man. And I would say the stylistic gap was so big. Devon is not suddenly going to become Ivan Metushenko and catch him in a hook, catch him off guard, and beat him from there. No, Devon is like all out on the left arm, just all out. He used to utilize the hook a lot. On the left arm, he used to hook more than top roll back in the days, but now his left is also all top roll. And there's just no way. If Vitali gets pinned twice by Kamil's press, then Devon will get pinned Vidis without much trouble. Kamal didn't even have to. Don't you remember that match? Kamal didn't even have to give his wrist. He was like tricep pressing Devon. If Jerry, like, just imagine that with Jerry. If Jerry is doing this thing to you and he doesn't have to do this thing to you, then it means there's a level gap, and that's what Kamal essentially did. He was tricep pressing Devon. Muratov beats 615 Masic 115. Yeah, yeah, sure, for sure. I don't think it's close. I think Masic can be like 135 if he wants, and he would still lose to Muratov. On the left, though, I hope you're not talking about the right. But the right arm match can also be close if the match happens at 105. I think it's a good match. It already did. Who faced who? I think Reno beat Muratov 2023 WAF. It was like some of these guys faced each other in the right arm too. I remember it clearly. What does Kalin remember? I only say that because Devon said he would beat him. Camille versus Devon. Yeah, I remember. I made a video about that. I also remember Devon said that. But no, he is not going to beat Camille. Not a chance. Even Camille can be a problem. The shutout stakes in the Devon versus Camille rematch should be if Devon can hold Camille for 3 seconds in any of the rounds. That should be the shutout stake, and I'll still probably put my money on Camille, but I'll be little bit doubtful. Not so much money. Why are people saying Auden versus Bacho? Do you bet? No, I have stopped it after the Devon versus Levan match. But yeah, I do remember Benji called me Benji Jones. So he always likes to just wants to give away his money. I was not so confident in this match. So if I personally think, even if he thinks that Devon is going to win, he'll still say, okay, let's have $100 bet. Gennady is going to win this match, and you're picking Devon, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm picking Devon. Okay, $100 bet. So if I win, then if he wins the bet, then I give $100 to the fans in terms of pay-per-view or whatever I want to do with that money, but I have to give it to the fans. And if I win the bet, then I can do whatever I want with the money. That's what he said. Who will win 130 kg? Last time also he bet in a match with me like that. Devon versus Levan, I think it was. He also knew that Levan is going to win, but he still bet on Devon, and he said, okay, you're taking Levan. And I'm like, okay. That's when he sent me $100, and I gifted $110 or something like that, $115 worth of which pay-per-view is it? Man, I forgot which pay-per-view it was. Knuckles Up pay-per-view. Knuckles Up 3 or 4 it was. I don't remember exactly. Pradeep versus Concrete Road dream match. Bacho dad moves Camille right arm. No, Bacho is not going to do anything to Camille right arm. Camille will beat him. Come on, man. The guy took one round from Morozov, and he gave him a really good match, even though it was like 5-1. That was still a good match. Bacho is not going to do anything to Camille. Thanks for talking about stuff that most people won't. Pretty cheap. Hermes versus Delusional Todd. Who will win? I think Hermes will win that match, but that's a discussion for a separate day. Today we talked about Stoyan Golemano versus Vasily Dautashvili upcoming super match. For the first 10 minutes, they have never faced each other. Stoyan is the smaller guy, but more experienced. Vasily is the bigger guy, but he's also feeling in the best shape of his life. And I think it's going to be a good match, difficult to predict. The second match that we talked about is Bacho versus Brad Grundy. Bacho thinks that Brad cannot take his hand. Brad cannot beat him in a hook. So he basically has no chances, and he's going to get beat without even getting to the straps. All flash pins, easy game. Brad also thinks that this is the most difficult match of his life. He's the bigger guy. Bacho is 102 kilos. He'll probably be 100 on match day. Brad is cutting down from 115 kilos. So he's going to be the bigger guy. And let's see how this match goes. Still, Bacho has to be the favorite, even though there is going to be at least a 10 kg difference between these two guys on match day. But top rolling Bacho is a difficult deal. Bacho versus Ricard. What do you think? Good match. That's a good match right there. Dixon Nass, thank you, brother, for the $2 super chat. I was just about to end this live stream. If Bacho starts in Brad's favorable setup, he is cooked. So, what is Brad's favorable setup? What could be a favorable setup for a top roller? Like, you're saying Bacho also decides to grab him high, or Bacho decides to grab him low? Please make it clear. Please make it clear, because favorable setup for a top roller would also depend on the kind of opponent he's facing and what he wants to do in that match. I think Bacho will be going straight for that wrist cup high hook kind of thing that he did against Adam Warzinski. He won't be really looking to like take his hand or go deep in a wrist to wrist hook. He'll just be like curling his wrist and going sideways, like almost a top roll. Dixon as is saying, if Bacho starts high and reaching, he's doomed. Okay, so just matching the height and going over the top of his hand. Yeah, I can agree with that, but I don't think I've ever seen Bacho do that. He just likes to do his thing, and that's what he's going to do in this match. Like his cupping his wrist curl, or even the ability to keep your wrist straight, maintain your wrist there. That is going to be really difficult for Brad Grundy to handle. Kamil versus Ali Jan. So, guys, a new video will, maybe it's already uploaded, or maybe it will be uploaded in like 1 minute. Just some fun discussion about Brian Shaw and Devon Larratt. So, please do watch that as well. And thank you guys. You guys are amazing. We'll probably, hopefully, meet tomorrow as well in a live stream. Bye. Sorry, I cannot read all the comments.